Hello everybody, this is RegiTime, and we're going to start a new year with a new way of making videos. I'm not going to be doing too many live play videos anymore. I kind of got bored of doing them. I think people are getting bored of them. I don't think they're that popular anymore as a way of making videos, so we're going to try and do something different. The problem is we're doing hand reviews is on Sky, is that we just have this like rubbish way of looking at it. Now, I know some other guys who use Sky perhaps use software they shouldn't be using that allows you to review hands better. I'm not one of those guys, and I only have this way of reviewing my hands. So yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to be doing some hand reviews of my hands that I do. We're going to be doing once a week and just picking out some of the biggest pots that are played that week. Winners and losers, not just the winners. We're going to be showing warts and all. If I butcher a hand and play it shit, we're going to be showing it. We're not going to just be showing the best stuff. It's not going to be like a highlight reel. It's going to be a highlight reel of the week of the big pots, not just the highlight reel of my best plays that worked out really well. So if you guys like it, please do hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, join the Facebook group, all those things, all the little bits of spam that we give at the start of these videos. If you have any criticism, then please go ahead and give it. If you're going to be too critical, at least try and be polite with it. Don't just call me a dick. And yeah, anyways, we can improve this type of video, or if you'd like me to review some of your hands, or if you'd like to send me some hands to review or a video of yourself playing to review, I'd rather just you send me hands. Maybe upload a bunch of hands to Hand Replays, or upload a bunch of hands to weaktype.com or something. Just something where you can say, look, there's 6 hands. How about you take a look at them for me, please? And I can make some videos with them. Can't promise to get to everybody's. And maybe if you just like send me a link to a particular hand you like looking at, either through Facebook or through the YouTube channel. Maybe when I get 5 or 6 hands from different individuals, maybe then that'll prompt me to make a video or two. Not entirely sure it's going to go yet, but it's going to be a lot of hand reviews going on. And we're just going to rush through these ones really quickly from this session. This is all from like my first session of the year. It was like post midnight, about 1 o'clock in the morning we started the session. As you can see that this time was played at 3:39 AM towards the end of the session. But I played about a 2-hour 45-minute session, and it was good. there was lots of action, as you're about to see. So we are going to whiz through them quite quickly. So this hand, we have 2 queens, fishy player limps, regular raises, doesn't make it too big. Really fishy player calls, another really fishy player calls. We make a big squeeze out of the big blind to nearly 16 bigs, and we get 2 callers. Then neither of these guys, now we get to the pot of 1680 on the flop. Dan started with 21, but he's put nearly 5 of that in now, and Lally started with 13. So we're left with like a SPR of 1 on the flop. Lally goes in for half pot. We kind of have to call. We've got the pair. We've got the second pair at the board. We've got the gut shot. We block the jack queen really hard. And if Dan goes all in behind us, just fuck our lives. We're going to have to flick the rest and just get on with it at this point. We just can't fold to this half pot lead though, clearly. We just hope Dan fucks off, gets out of the way. Or basically, we hope Dan doesn't have a king. We get lucky this time. He just has the gut shot that we block really hard. And we hold. Which is pretty nice. And that was like the first pot of the night. We're now away. These aren't supposed to be super educational, strategy-based hands. This is hopefully me just sharing some interesting, some fun hands for you guys just to talk about. If you do see anything that I do and you wonder why I did it, please do come back to me and say, oh, why did you do that? Or I think that's shit, I think that's good, or whatever. Or if you want to share reads on players that you see some player names and whatever. It's not meant to be massively strat intensive. It's meant to be hopefully a little bit entertaining, a little bit strat, a little bit just hopefully appealing to recreational players. It's not meant to be aimed at anyone looking to like really improve their strategy-based thoughts in the game. It's just other recreational players like myself who like discussing hands. This is kind of what it's aimed at. So it's not going to be really, really heavy like discussing people's ranges, something chronic. I'm not going to do that because I don't think I do it well enough, and I think it can be quite boring for the type of player that I'm hoping to appeal to. So, yep, second hand, we raise 2 10s under the gun. We get a call from a player called Tom Blott, who I didn't know very well, but he seemed just a little bit weird to me. He was like loose passive pre-flop and then a little bit weirdly aggressive post-flop. So yeah, we flopped top set, which is really boring, of course. Lally, who's the fishy guy from the previous hand, min bets. We ignore that. We treat it like he hasn't done anything. We bet 270. It says raise, but as far as I'm concerned, we're just betting 270 into £3.05. Tom block calls. Then I'm thinking, well, his range looks like flush draws, looks like maybe the case 10, pocket 9s, pocket 8s, pocket 7s, ace 6, 4 3, 8 7, 8 9, all those types of things. Some 6 5. He's got a pretty wide range, got lots and lots of stuff in it. The call doesn't really tell us too much other than he hasn't completely bricked. While he gets out of the way, turn counter 7, so it gives him more 2-paired options, 10, 7, 6, 7, 5, 7. He can have all the 2 pairs. He can obviously have the 8, 9 and the 4, 3 for the straight, but whatever if he's got them. Just tough shit for us. I'm still pretty confident in the strength of my hand. I bet around 3/4 pot. Top block called again. And then we get not a brick river, because you can have some like nut flush draws that's now hit the ace. But as you'll see as we go on through the video, this session was crazy aggressive. People were doing just bonkers things on rivers. And this is like towards the end of the session, so a lot of the hands that you're going to see happen before this, we're kind of doing these in reverse order, which maybe isn't the ideal way to do it, but we're doing it that way now, and we'll maybe change it next time. And so yeah, it was a bonkers session. People have been doing all kinds of crazy bluffs, and I kind of got myself into, not a habit's the wrong word, but into taking lines which allow people to bluff. So I thought it's, a lot of the draws have missed. If he's got a 2-pair hand, he's going to bet it for value for check anyway. And miss value from like maybe pocket 8s, something like that, pocket 9s, maybe the case 10. So I missed value from some of the stuff that's going to check back. But I think a lot of his range is going to bet this river, because he's either going to have missed draws or he's going to have 2-pair plus. So I check. He goes all in for like 50% more than pot, or just short of 50% more than pot. We call it off, and fortunately for us, he did have the with flush draw. So, yep, that one turned out nicely. Next hand, we have the ace 8, blind versus blind, 3-handed. We flopped up pair, we bet. Hull cheat wasn't the sort of guy who's too much into folding. He's a pretty loose, stationy sort of fish. Turn comes a 9, we bet again for value. Of course, he can have a deuce, he can have 8, 9, he can, not many ways he can have us beat, but at the same time, the more he calls, the narrower his range becomes, the more likely it is, and the thinner things start getting. But it's definitely not too thin on the turn to bet, so we bet the turn again. He calls, river comes an offsuit king, and again, very much like the previous hand, I'm kind of thinking, well, crazy things happening on rivers here. If I bet and he's just got a miss flush draw, he can't call. He might call with an 8. We risk missing value from an 8, pocket 7s, pocket 6s, that type of thing. But I kind of felt my hand was going to play better as a check call here than like another value bet. Unless I made like a really small value bet. There's 9.60 in the pot. Maybe if I bet like £2.50, £3, you can look us up with like pocket 7s, pocket 6s, pocket 5s. Who knows? Fuck it. Maybe even he's somehow got there with a king, but it seems unlikely. But I elected to check and allow my opponent to bluff. He then bet full pot, which I wasn't massively in love with, because we do only have that 3rd pair with an ace kicker. But I kind of thought, well, I've checked to allow him to bluff. If I now fold, who's a fucking dickhead? So I did call. And sadly, he'd got there with the king 7 on the river. He'd just like double floated the king 7 on the deuce, 8, 9. And got there, and I paid him off. Whatever, big deal. Next hand, we have 2 kings. Limpy. There's 3 players limped. We raised to 6x. And this is the first time we've seen a Rab for the evening. Rab was a fun player who was splashing around a lot, but he wasn't doing an awful lot of calling. He was doing an awful lot of betting when checked too, or donking into people, but he wasn't that into calling. He was a strange player. He seemed to just want to always be the aggressor. So we get to the flop. And I check my 2 kings on the queen 7 deuce. Very safe board for our kings. Rimrab had a really high VPip. It must have been close to 100. He was playing literally every part. He was bonkers. The game was built around him. I actually posted a link to my Facebook page with the screenshot of the lobby, which said, which was showing this particular table had an average pot of like 60 big blinds over like a maybe hour and a half period. Rab was just driving all the action. So we check on a really good board for us. He bets half pot. And just called. Turn come at 6 of clubs. We do have the king of clubs. So it's not the end of the world for us that the clubs come. He bets really big this time. He bets full pot. But this is just his MO. This is just what he was doing. So I still had no reason to think it was behind. So we just call again. River comes like an offsuit 9. We check again. He goes all in. We only have to call 10-60 more, which we do call. We show our king. He shows his 3-9 for a rivered bottom for a rivered pair, and we drag down a really big pot. And this is going to be relevant to a hand in a couple of hands' time. So just bear this hand in mind, how he's just gone like bet when we just like slipped it to him and we've let him have the rope to hang himself. This will be relevant when we come to a hand in a couple of hands' time. Next hand is an ace king. Again, we're playing just four-handed. I didn't know an awful lot about Woodsy whatsoever, but we flop trips. There's not really much we can get called by, so check back, just hoping to let him catch up a little bit on the turn. Or maybe start bluffing. Turn comes 2 of diamonds, really safe card. He bets full pot, well, over full pot actually. Pot on a bit. We just call again because there's no real reason to raise. I guess we could try and get some value from flush draws that he maybe picked up, but yeah, if he's got a king, we're going to stack him anyway. And if he's got deuces full or sixes full, he's going to stack us anyway, so it doesn't really make much difference. River comes down at offsuit 5, and he just like goes all in for whatever that is, like 4x pot without effective stack, just about. I wasn't in love with the situation because usually when I pay these massive overbets off, I just get shown the nuts. But we've got 3 kings with an ace kicker, and our hand's massively under rep, so that we just obviously have to call. And this is just how the session was going. He just turned up with like the 8-9 off for an absolute airball. And this is why I was taking these like relatively passive, allow people to bluff lines, because it was just one of those nights where people seemed to be really happy running lots and lots of bluffs, which was pretty sweet. Next time we have 2 jacks, which I didn't know an awful lot about him, but it only sat down with a 17 big blind stack. It looked like he had his casement in the table, so it's probably not going to be a regular. Certainly not one that I know of, and I've played these games a long time. So he raises to 1 to 40 pence, a min raise. We 3-bet to 8 blinds, and we get a call out of the small blind, and then Witcher calls 2. We get like a brilliant flop. We get the deuce, deuce 5. Small blind checks, Witcher checks, or the big blind, whatever Heron was. Big blind, I think big blind checks, Witcher checks. We make like I think it's about like a 3/5 pot size bet, something like that. Heron folds, Witcher just goes all in. Of course, we could be beat here. I mean, he could somehow randomly have a deuce. It's very, very unlikely, but who knows? He can't be a maniac. He might have a deuce. Don't think he has 5s full, because why would he go all in? And I just think he's going to usually just going to have kind of 3s through 10s, something like that. And we're going to stack him all the time, or most of the time. So obviously we call in a heartbeat. He shows the ace queen with the 2 jacks. So we obviously get it in really good shape. And again, this is just how the session was going. It was just absolutely crazy. Chips were absolutely flying across 4 tables. It was a big fun session. Turn comes a 9, so dodge it nicely. River comes a queen, and there's no point feeling salty when shit like that happens, because it was like 4, sometimes 5 tables going, and they were all like massive action tables. It's one of those nights where you probably, if you keep your head, you're going to make quite a nice score. But if you allow stuff like this to get to you, you know, it could make you miss out on a really profitable session. I mean, when you're playing in these sort of games where people are doing these crazy things, you got to play some big pots with marginal hands, and sometimes you're going to lose. That's just the way it goes. But Bike Christ are great games to be in. I'd love to be in them every night, because yeah, they are high short-term variance, but long-term, you're just printing in these games. So we go on to the next hand. Look at me, I've got another big hand. We have the 2 aces. Ember Brad from the pocket kings, where we checked 2 and 3 times. He bluffed his stack off. It's the same player again here. We make it 5x with the aces. We get a passenger with Alpine coming along from wherever he'd come along from. He just limped and called. Rab called. We get a pretty good flop, Jack XX, but I'd like to bet this time. much as I want to check to rab to allow him to bluff, because we're multi-way, I kind of don't want to give him free cast to 2 players, so we bet Alpine folds, rab calls, which is a really good result for us. Turn comes out offsuit queen, with rab. He could have had anything there, he could have had any of the 2 pairs possible, because he's playing literally any 2 cards, but the likelihood is we just have the best hand. So I let to check to him, he bets like half pot, we just call. River comes down, the offsuit 4, we check to rab. Rab goes all in for 13.67. We just obviously snap him off because it's rab and he's just banging chips in left and right. We show the ace. Sadly, he shows the 4-3 for a rivered 2 pairs. And you can look at that now and think, well, you deserve that. You let him get there. But just please do think back or rewind back to the 2 kings hand where we just check 3 times and let him just blast his stack off. Just because he got there with the 4-3, there's no reason to be result orientated here. Still really happy with my line. I'll still take the line again, because he's just not going to get there with the 4-3 off very often. This time he did, when we lost a 100 and something big blind pot. So be it. So be it. Next time we have 2 10s. 7 king, who's a regular, raises from under the gun. Macca folds. 4th telly calls. 4th telly was like a pretty bad aggressive play. It wasn't too aggressive pre-flop, it was pretty bad aggressive post-flop. So I had to go for the squeeze to try and isolate him, get him heads up. And we achieved that. The regular 7 king folds, 4th telly calls. We get a really good flop for our hand. I take a chance on him checking back and I check to him, expecting him to bet, and then we can just like jam over him and hopefully stack his whatever he's got. But he doesn't allow us to do that because he just goes all in. We snap him off, of course. We show the 10-10, he shows the 8-9, and this time we hold. And we drag down a just over 100 big blind pot. Oh, pretty sweet. And again, the whole theme of this video has been me playing passively versus bad aggressive players and letting them do all the work. It's kind of like the old saying goes in poker, where why do the pushing when the donkey will do the pulling. Tonight was a classic example of that. 4th telly was one of those players. Rab was one of those players. There was lots and lots of guys out there just being mentally like really stupidly aggressive, and it's probably because they've just come off from the pub pissed New Year's Eve, New Year's into New Year's Day, and they're just being a bit reckless. I guess that's what was happening. This is the last hand of the video, so you won't be surprised to see I've got another big pair, because ultimately I am a nit. So we have the 2 jacks. Macca, this is right at the start of the session, or close to the start of the session. It hadn't really been super aggressive yet, and on top of that, I've been observing Macca's play, and it'd been pretty weak tight. So when a weak tight player raises pre-flop, I'm not going to go out of line to 3-bet them very often, especially not with like a hand like pocket jacks. Obviously we'll be that aces, kings, and maybe a couple of other hands, but jacks, and just kind of let's see a flop, let's see what happens. Let's just not own ourselves against aces and kings, which I think is a big part of this guy's range, because his pre-flop raise, he was barely raising at all. He wasn't playing many pots full stop. If I was to guess his stats, I would say maybe like an 18-5 type player. Well, I don't know, but it'd be someone like that, I would guess. Maybe a little bit looser, but he was definitely like very passive and not at all aggressive. So I just elected to call because it was my day. We flopped the nuts, which is pretty nice. And he just bets 70 pence. And my population read is pretty much on dry boards when these weak type players just bet half pot. It's usually because they're not in love with the hand. I think if he had aces or kings or something here, he would have bet £1 or £1.20 or maybe even full pot. That's what these guys do. They get scared, they start seeing monsters under the bed, and they just want to like bash big bets and try and end the pot as early as possible. Half the time they're not even value betting their aces. They're just like, fuck, let's just bet and end the pot. They get scared. So when he just bets half pot, I kind of thought, this guy maybe doesn't have very much here. But I didn't want to just call a half pot bet because we're not getting enough money in the pot. We want to try and like get good value for our 3 jacks. So I did something which I don't often do, but I do it occasionally. I just literally clicked it back to him, hoping maybe if he did have like a hand like 2 aces or something, he would just freak out with them and like give me an opportunity to put another raise in. Or if he had a hand like pocket 10s, pocket 9s, or just some random overs, just give him a price he can't really refuse. to call with a view of like us obviously bet turn, bet river. And he does call. So at this point I'm thinking, well, maybe he doesn't just have any random floats now. Maybe he does just have either the case jack or pocket 10s, pocket 9s, pocket 8s. That's kind of what I was thinking. Mostly 8s, 9s and 10s. That's what I was thinking. We fill up on the turn. We make another smallish bet, less than half pot. Because again, I think his range is pretty much just going to be pairs under the jack mostly. So I don't want him to be able to fold them. So we just bet small, just go for some like fat value at like a price he can afford. He calls again. So right now I'm very confident that he has some kind of made hand. Thinking definitely pocket 8. Who knows? Maybe he has pocket 5s. Fuck it. He might have quads. Who knows? But obviously we're really happy with the situation. We got top boat. Nothing much can go wrong. River comes down the 9 of hearts, which is a really good card for us because if he does that pocket 9s, then obviously he's going to love his hand. So I kind of think by now he's probably got a made hand of some description. So I bet slightly bigger, still not huge. But we go like 416 to 780, which is like just a bit over half pot. And then he raises us. So by now I just think, yeah, the guy's hit 9s full. Or he's got quads, or he's got pocket 5s, aces, maybe pocket aces, but, you know. I'm thinking he's probably got like 9s full, was what I thought he had. So obviously I go all in. He calls, which doesn't surprise me at all. And sadly for him, he'd like backed into the flush. If we go back to the flop, I'm really quite pleased that we only put the small raise in because that allowed him to back into the flush. We were lucky that he managed to hit like his flush draw on the turn, and we bet small enough to allow him to call. And then the river, I mean, I'm not sure I love his raise on the river, to be fair, but he's done it, and I think his raise call is not good, but it worked out for us, and that was like the start of what was a good session for us. I think he ended up playing for about 2 3/4 hours, and I made just over £100 playing like 20 and 30 and I was playing like anywhere from 3 to 5 tables, so I'd be surprised if I played more than 500 or 600 hands. So yeah, it was a really good session, a really good start to the year, and that's why I decided to make this video tonight. I wasn't going to make one till the end of the week, but because we had so many fun hands all in one session, I thought, well, why not just try and make a short video now, see what you guys think of it, take any suggestions from you. Do you like it? Do you not like it? And yeah, I'm planning on doing more of these, but if you guys really hate them and if the video doesn't get too many views, then I won't make any more. But hopefully we get some positive feedback and we can make some more, or we can review some other guys' hands. But we'll leave it there for now. I just wish you guys a happy new year again, and I'll catch up with you all soon. Bye bye for now.